and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I'm your host, Mark, and today I'm joined by the venerable Daniel and Joe. Is that a word?
Venerable.
Is that a word? Yeah, that's a word.
I'm quite venerable.
We need to double check the
Morgan,
definition on that
let
one.
us know in the comments if venerable is a word. I'm pretty sure it is.
Fact check us.
It is a word. I just got to make sure it means what you think it means.
Well, while Daniel checks
I don't think
that
it means
word,
what you think it means.
I think it is. I think it means
Thank you.
honorable,
Thank you,
notable.
Inigo.
I was just quoting.
Double check it for me,
Princess
Daniel. But yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about vocabulary.
Oh,
we are here.
Thanks, Mark.
I appreciate
Accorded
that.
a great deal of respect, especially because of age, wisdom, or character.
There you go. Venerable friends. I love
He
it.
just
Okay.
called you old, Daniel.
I'm glad my
I'm
vocabulary
gonna feel old
surprises-
by the time we get to some of my sets. Anyway,
My vocabulary surprises even me, but we're not here to discuss that. We're here to talk about some amazing set themes and the best sets within those themes. The most iconic sets from, I think we have 15 very popular LEGO themes. These aren't like, this isn't a definitive list, and these are just our own opinions. This isn't
no
necessarily,
no peeking.
they can't really read upside down and horizontal like
How
that.
do you know?
Anyway, so it's...
eyes on your own test.
I'm
Mark.
trying to get okay. So we're gonna break down each of these themes and then describe what we think is the most iconic set from set
Mark, can we
themes.
hurry up and get through the intro? It's really dragging on.
Yeah.
I gotta explain what we're doing.
You're taking so long.
You guys are interrupting me. All right.
All right, sorry, I won't interrupt you anymore.
I apologize for my venerable friend. Okay. So we're gonna start with Joe, and he's gonna list his theme that he was assigned and the set that he picked from that. Joe.
Oh, are you done with the intro?
Okay, all right.
I was literally
I
about to
know,
introduce you.
sorry.
Okay, so what is your first
Don't be
theme,
ridiculous.
Joe? And what is the first set, the best, most iconic set from that theme?
I got selected with the classic theme of classic space.
I love it.
It's pretty cool. It's not one I know a ton about. I do
Mhm.
love the sets and all that, so it's not like, oh, well, I have a lot of
You're not an
knowledge about
expert per
If
se.
you mess this up, Fazoom's gonna come find you in your sleep.
that.
And
Zoom, do not hurt me, please.
I want some bold choices.
I
This
love
is-
classic space.
This is good.
Don't kill me, Bazoom.
You'll be good.
I picked the Galaxy Explorer / the Galaxy Explorer
Mm-hmm.
because that seemed safe. Because there's the original Galaxy Explorer,
Yes.
which is a super iconic set.
Rare, valuable.
I mean, they made it a U.S. version and a European version,
Mhm.
I believe.
Everywhere else but the U.S. version.
Yes. So it came out in 1979. It was a couple base plates and then the Galaxy Explorer
The
itself.
big ship. Yeah.
The good ship. It's 318 parts. So I took that little tidbit.
Nice. I like it.
And what's cool is recently, last year, they made the new Galaxy Explorer, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen.
with a lot more than
And
318 parts.
1,219
almost
parts.
4 times as many.
It's much larger, too.
So it's huge. It's got all the features it's bigger. So it's just designed more streamlined.
Yep.
And it's very iconic.
And
Tiles
there was
everywhere.
an interesting story behind that. I don't know if you heard this, and I didn't actually confirm it with Mike Psyche when he was here, but supposedly the percentage that they increased the scale of it was roughly based on how tall you would have been when you were a kid if you had gotten the set compared to how tall you were when you were adult. So the thinking was
Wow.
it would feel the same size as when you were playing it with it when you were a kid.
That is some big brain stuff, man.
I'd have to confirm that with Mike.
Yeah,
I didn't
see
think to
that,
ask him
That's
when he was here.
really cool.
But supposedly, anyway, the general idea was they made it bigger so it would feel the same as when you were a kid.
That's
you know,
cool.
when you play with things you had as a kid that you haven't in a long
Yeah.
time, or you go back to your elementary school and you're
It
like,
feels
why are
small.
the desks so tiny?
Yeah, that's
I don't remember
that's
them
a
being
great
this tiny.
feature that they added.
Yeah.
So that definitely qualifies as the most iconic set from Classic Space, in my opinion.
I mean, they literally remade it
Yeah.
in a bigger and better way. So
Yeah.
that's very iconic, and it's a set I actually own.
You own the new one, right?
I
Yeah,
own the
sounds
new
awesome.
one, and I have it signed by Mike Psyche.
The designer of the
So
set.
that's pretty cool.
That's
too.
very cool.
Awesome. Well, great pick, Joe. I think
Yeah.
we'll move right along to Daniel. So we have a lot to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
here.
we're going
So
through
what do
it
you got,
pretty
Daniel?
quick. I got classic pirates.
Mhm.
So
Great theme.
you know, each group of 3 will be loosely related. So we're doing all the classics. I got to go with Black Sea's Barracuda.
Fair enough.
Hands down, they released it twice back then. They
Yeah.
released it. The first version came out in 1989. It was set
Mhm.
6285, and then they re-released it as part of the Legends
Yes.
line. I think it was
Like
somewhere
2000s,
around
I thought it was
2000.
early 2000s.
Yeah. So it got re-released then. Nowadays, we also have Pirates of Barracuda Bay. Well, I say nowadays. That was,
that was a couple years ago, 2018.
Which was a great remake. You can make it into a similar ship,
which is
or
awesome.
into the kind of wreckage
Barracuda Bay,
shantytown kind of thing that they were going for. But iconic set. And whenever you see a pirate ship with the red and white sails, you know that's what they were going for. They've done homages to that in both the 60 years and 90 years promotional sets.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of these are the ones that you see time and time again as representing kind of all of LEGO history, not even just the Pirates line.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's probably top 5 most iconic LEGO sets is that one and the Galaxy Explorer, honestly.
In the 60 and 90 years, they also have the Galaxy Explorer.
Exactly. So if a LEGO is officially kind of putting that on a pedestal as something that represents the theme, I think that totally
pretty
counts.
cool, yeah.
And that's also what I would have picked, and I don't...
As part of the big 3, as I like to call them.
Yeah, there are other amazing pirate sets, but I think if a random person walks in the store, there's actually not a bad chance that they have seen that set or have actually had it as a kid back in the 80s.
We almost always have one, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
It's expensive,
but we do
but
have
it's
one
not.
usually.
It's not that rare, which means a lot of kids got it back then.
Exactly.
Which speaks to its popularity.
Yeah.
And what's the other big 3?
The last of the big 3 is going to be Classic Castle, which I was originally going to have these very randomized and I wouldn't have to talk about.
Oh, I
Classic
de-randomized it.
But Daniel's like, no, you got to talk about Classic Castle and a few other themes that are more specific to me, I think. So Classic Castle, it's top big 3 themes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this for just a second, but I'm like, nah, it's just got to be the original Castle. It's literally what it's called. It is also known as the Yellow Castle, but it is called Castle.
Yeah.
Not even the Castle.
It's
just Castle.
That's beautiful.
And the original,
it was the only castle.
Yeah.
The original set number was 375, but it also had an American version that had more digits, had 4 digits instead of 3. Mm-hmm. And so it had, it was actually one of the first...
Do you know why they did that, by the way?
I do, because they were trying to sound more impressive to Americans. So instead of having only 375 sets, they had thousands of sets.
Yeah, that's funny.
They wanted to sound like they had a huge catalog.
Tidbit.
Very fun. Well, this was tied in the same year as the first release of minifigures in 1978.
Wow.
So, and they didn't have any prints on their torsos, just their faces. Everything else was stickers. It was very rudimentary, but, I mean, without them, you wouldn't have minifigures. So the fact that this castle exists, it was pretty successful. People enjoyed it. I know that it meant a lot to me. I never saw it, obviously, I wasn't born in the 70s, but I saw it in books, highlighted as a really iconic piece from even in the early 2000s. And I eventually got one, so I'm happy I had one. But it's a very cool set, and I think it definitely deserves the most iconic classic castle set.
Easily, yeah.
I mean, there are others that are close, but I mean, you got to start with the granddaddy,
It's Castle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I will say, as far as the big 3 sets, that is also the first and only one that I own. As much of a vintage set collector as I am, I do not own a Galaxy Explorer or a Galaxy Barracuda.
Those are some big expensive sets now, and you got to kind of budget for them at this point because they're huge. But anyway, the classic stuff out of the way, we also had to talk about some of the less than admirable themes in the LEGO catalog. So, Joe, you want to start?
All right, let's get hyped up, chat. It's time for Nexo Knights. Mark's
I gotta go get some water. I'll be back.
Mark's second favorite theme, right?
Unbreakable.
I'm gonna drink some water and not spit it out in the camera here.
Anyway, you guys love Nexo Knights, as you've made abundantly clear, and I think the most iconic set.
Drop the Nexo Knight emojis in the chat.
Yeah.
Is not the one I picked. I picked the coolest Nexo set they've ever made.
According to you, the most iconic.
I think it's the coolest set, so guess it's the most iconic. And we actually got it in the other day, which brought it up in my memory. So when Mark had this idea, I was like, oh, duh, that one. It's the Knighton Castle.
Yes.
Which is really cool. It's got a lot of dark blue and neon orange, which is a great color combo. It comes with some really Nexo-y figures. But there's one that's really cool, and it's a white statue with a little, just a crown symbol.
Exactly, the original classic castle symbol.
So that
it's the yellow castle.
Really cool figure. Mark probably even likes that figure.
I don't have it, but I would like it one day.
All right, there you go. And that's a pretty big set, one of their biggest, if not the biggest, with 1,348 parts.
Pretty big set.
So not too bad. It's not the first wave. I think it was the second or third. 2017, I think they.
That would have been second wave, I think. Yeah.
So pretty cool set.
Second, third.
It's Nexo Knights. I don't got much to talk about.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one,
Oh,
Joe.
okay.
I'm gonna have to go with the 4-track.
I agree that that's the most iconic. I just picked the coolest.
There you
Yeah.
go. According to Joe, that is the most.
I think a
Next
castle
night
on
set.
tank treads
I agree.
is hard to beat in terms of what sticks in your memory, for better or for worse.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's truly iconic.
There
I
you
don't
go.
disagree
Hey,
with that at all.
We're gonna have some hot takes
Uh-huh.
on
Oh,
this
yeah.
episode.
Hot takes!
So that's what we're doing.
Well,
I love it.
Feisty.
I was assigned Jack Stone, and that out of these 3 worst ones, this is really the worst. So I decided not to do it.
There's nothing good. There's
Because
nothing to talk
Nobody
about.
even knows what the Jack Stone sets are. They're all awful, like fire and rescue
Yep.
and police.
I was trying to mess with somebody, but no, it's good.
Yeah, you did it. So I'm
Yeah.
doing Chima instead for my bad theme.
Yeah.
Chima's pretty bad too.
It's
Not
not
quite
great,
Jack
yeah.
Stone levels of bad, but
So I'm gonna go with I ran this by Joe a little bit. I was thinking about doing the what is it, King Laval,
Yeah.
the one with the big lion
Yeah.
Yes.
fortress. But instead, I went with Krager's command ship. This was 2013, by the way.
I agree with that.
Yes, 100%.
It's very iconic. I mean, it's a boat in these like swampy colors, and the whole front of
Olive
it's
green.
shaped like a crocodile head. So I think it's iconic. Whether or not
Yeah.
it's good is a different
Fair enough.
different matter.
But it
but
is very iconic.
I think it's one that most people would recognize as a cheap
and
set.
we usually have one here, just like you were saying about the Black Seas Barracuda. We always have one here
I
somewhere.
mean, some
Exactly.
of the iconic elements of Chima are like the crystals and like the floating islands
Careful,
and the
Mark might get too
waterfalls and
excited.
stuff. I know, he might.
Different crystals.
And
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
set doesn't have those as much, but I still think it may be one of the more iconic sets.
I agree.
From,
Yeah.
from the early
100%.
waves.
I know we see, like I think Joe was saying, we see them a lot more often.
Oh, yeah.
The original Laval's castle was actually kind of, I think it wasn't purchased as much because it was the most expensive
Yeah.
set in the line. This was the one that everyone could afford and therefore
Exactly.
get. So
That's
more
what
iconic.
I was thinking.
And another thing I thought of was the whole principle of Chima was based around vehicles with these speedors. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of the vehicles sold better than the bases.
Yeah.
For Chima by
Agreed.
and large.
Yeah.
Good rationale there for sure. But yeah, the next theme in the 3 bad themes. Actually 4 if you count Shima too. So the next of the 3 bad themes is Galador. Galador. If you don't know about Galador, go watch our Galador series and set review. It's earlier on our channel. You can check it out.
Mark and I have now watched both season 1 and 2 of Galador.
Yes.
I only watched
missed out on
season 2.
one.
Which I don't
You were
even
very
want to go
confused.
back and watch season 1.
He was so
I don't think
confused
that would
going
help
into
me
it.
at all.
It got even wilder in the
It was
second half of the
insane.
season. Yeah.
It was insane.
Anyway, so Galador is extremely controversial. It's widely regarded as one of the worst, if not the worst, themes. And we had to talk about it because we're talking about the good and bad. The set that I have is number 8315, the TDN module, aka the egg from the show. I mean, they were constantly inside this ship, which is gigantic. It's like 4 stories on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like they
They
can
got the whole
barely
elevator.
open the door and fit inside on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So-
was.
Terrible.
It's kind of like in Harry Potter, how they have like the tent where they go in and it's all big inside.
Doctor
It was
Who,
just
TARDIS,
Doctor Who,
yep,
same
yep.
thing. Very
It's like,
TARDIS.
yeah, that
That's a
ain't
better
right,
analogy.
but yeah.
But they never address that. They just actually get in there in a huge room, and
It's
they don't
just
even say why.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't even look around like,
Let
oh.
me go down the other levels real quick.
So
Elevator.
the TDN module set only has 9 pieces, none of which have any system connections
That's
at all.
Okay, but 9 pieces
Nothing.
is probably the average for all Galador
Yeah,
sets I have.
yeah.
In fact, the figures may have more.
Yeah, they do.
Because the legs are jointed
Yeah.
too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah,
Yeah.
average figures
9
might be more like
parts.
12.
This is a little lower than average for Galador
Yeah.
count, we think.
Yeah,
And it's gigantic. It's about the size of a small watermelon. And you can fit most of the action figures inside when you open it up. And yeah, so about the
not
size
all
of basketball.
not all at once.
And you
one or
can, you
two?
can one at a time. I wouldn't try and fit 2 in there. I don't think that'd
Okay.
be pretty cramped.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, orange leather seats and
Hey,
no
that's
system
what's
connections
up,
at all.
you know?
You can't snap this to anything else in the
That's
Lego
insane. It's
universe.
Wait,
ridiculous.
actual leather or just.
Well, they're supposed to be, yeah. Not real leather. There's
Darn.
no orange leather in this set. But yeah, crazy. It was relatively affordable when it came out. I think it was in the $15, $20 range. Now it's about...
Boy, I'd hope so.
Guess what?
Yeah.
It's still about the $15.
Zero appreciation.
Sorry, Galador investors.
I got one on eBay for
Yeah.
$16 and I love it. So help yourself. Go get some really unique, weird Lego. People will post on Instagram about it and get really excited, and the people
yeah.
that own one will be like, "Oh, it's
I mean,
like having a gremlin." It's like it's having a weird car.
I'll say I'm a fan now. I'm
Yeah,
in it.
so
You're
I
a
love it.
super fan.
I'm
I'm
a
just
super
I'm a casual fan.
Yeah,
Agreed.
but so look up Galador, look up the TDN module. You won't. Well, you probably will regret it. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, you will, but it'll be funny.
It's hours of my life I won't get back, but I had a good time. We
did it together.
Yes.
And that was the only way we survived.
power of friendship.
The real Galador was the friends we made along the way.
Yep.
Anyway, back onto the good themes. We start with Joe again.
All right, I am with a cool theme that's actually a theme I enjoy.
You're welcome.
Ninjago.
There we go.
Which I mean, I know you guys don't mind Ninjago, but
Yeah.
like I've watched all the seasons up to the latest one, and I've always enjoyed it. And it was tough to pick the most iconic set because there's a lot of good
From
sets.
over 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
11 years?
They've had
2011.
thousands of
Yeah.
Ninjago
So-
sets.
So going into
12
12
years,
now, yeah.
so it's older than Friends.
it is by a year,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So.
So it was tough, but I think the most iconic set, we actually have one in the store right now, is the Fire Temple from the first Skeleton Waves.
The original wave is the
Comes with-
biggest set.
It's the Fire
Yeah.
Temple with the Fire Dragon. It's when Kai is reaching his full potential. It's just a really iconic scene. And I think it's really cool. It's a big set. It's 1,136 parts.
Yep.
Which for the first wave, that's a pretty big set to put out there, hoping it does well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's
I mean,
just
you could
hard
go
to
through
go
and
wrong
look
with
at
that.
other Lego IP themes, you know,
Uh-huh.
not non-licensed themes. Look at the very first wave and the biggest set in the wave. That's probably higher than most.
Yeah, yeah. That's
They,
I mean,
they
that's
were
crazy.
going all in terms of
It's a
investment
great
on
set
this.
though, and I mean it's worth like I think $500 now.
Yeah.
So
Collectability.
compared to Galador,
Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely. I mean, I don't know how much that retail for, but if it was like $100,
It's probably at least 5 times its
five
original.
times. That's insane. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very iconic for Ninjago. It's where it all began.
Exactly.
The origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Yeah,
And
all right.
Kai became a little more tolerable.
A little more tolerant. I think, is it Jacob would fight you on there because
Yes,
he likes Kai?
Jacob
Yeah.
would fight me on that.
There you go. All right, so
Let's go.
what we got?
I'm
Daniel?
gonna go with modulars next.
Okay.
I got all of the modulars buildings.
Nice.
I'm really on the fence with this one. I still don't know if I've really decided because
Oh yeah.
Greengrocer is like
That
top of the line, cream of the crop,
Mm-hmm.
modular, very early on, very iconic. But I feel like more instantly recognizable from across the room is the Cafe Corner.
and that's what I disagree with.
Ooh, okay.
He wanted to go with Greengrocer. Chris said Greengrocer.
People
I-
ask about Greengrocer, not Cafe Corner.
Desirability isn't iconic though. I mean,
No.
iconic is the poster child of all
Agreed.
modular buildings.
But I also have had people go, "Is that the Palace Cinema?" And
It's-
that's where it's like
That's bad. Yeah.
It
It's
is
hard to
similar.
say. It's
Similar
tough.
color scheme. It's a corner unit.
it's
but
not Market Street. We can say that much.
Yeah,
is not
that
the
one's
most
kind of forgotten,
iconic.
unfortunately.
Yeah, Market Street. Well, that one's weird because it was
is
part of that
factory,
thing.
yeah.
A lot of some people don't even consider that a real one. I'm gonna go with Cafe Corner though. I gotta go with that.
Either
That
of those
should have been
two.
2000,
Hot take.
2008 for the modulars.
Yep.
You know,
Oh
just
man,
certain-
we're old.
I know.
That
know.
is crazy.
Tell me about. Wait till my next one.
Uh,
But you know, you got the little fan thing over the door, and there's certain elements that are highly recognizable that they've done callbacks to. I mean, you look at Assembly Square, which was that the 10th modular, or was it 10 years?
I think it was 10 years.
I don't know, one or the other.
10
Anyway,
is 10 years.
they
was probably
reused
both,
that
actually, yeah.
fan design.
It was
over
10
the
years
door.
because it was 2017 and Cafe Corner was 2007. Yes.
Was it? Okay. Anyway, iconic elements constantly referenced. I think there were even some printed tiles that came in that one. That maybe it was like a box of that. So,
Yep. There's a box set of that set.
yeah. We also have
Two.
two of those.
Two in
Two
stock,
Cafe
yeah.
Corners.
Two Cafe Corners.
So
Sealed.
If you
Yeah.
want one,
Yeah.
we got it.
I have the mini modular set, which I just love those things. The
I mean,
little-
you've
the little
made
miniature
mini
ones.
modulars
Oh
of
yeah,
all
I
the
need,
new
I,
ones.
speaking of which, I need to do the new one.
Pizzeria.
The
or
pizzeria slash
Jazz
jazz
Club.
Yeah, I need to start
You
doing
do,
that.
yeah.
I think that's a good choice, Danielle, because if you think about it, the Cafe Corner is the most expensive, most collectible modular.
Yeah.
Greengrocer's probably second,
It is.
but it's still got a grand over that. I mean,
That's
so
true.
it's the
I just
desirability
think when you
counts.
look at Greengrocer objectively and in an unbiased way, at the way that it's built and the way it looks, kind of just looks like a building.
No,
it
if
doesn't
you ask
have a
me,
lot of
I
like
would 100%
distinct
take
features.
the Cafe Corner over that. I would agree, but I'm just.
There's an argument
I
to be
know,
made.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what
It's-
the people
there,
say.
there just aren't a lot of unique, recognizable elements to
Yeah,
it. It's
no.
just kind of a green building.
It's the green grocer. They literally put it in the name.
It's a good one, though.
It is.
Alrighty, well, moving right along, I had Friends.
Oh!
Of this panel, I probably know a little bit more about Friends than you two. Maybe not that much, but maybe just a fact or two more.
You do hang out with them a lot.
I do know the Friends characters by name. So, can you guys
Great.
say all the anyways.
Stephanie.
Yeah, see, I got you. Okay, I'm the Friends expert.
Andrea.
Emma.
Good.
Olivia.
Mia.
Is that all
I think
five?
that's it.
There's just 5?
Yeah, I think
Marcel.
and Marcel. And I like Ethan, too. Anyway.
Ethan.
But no, yeah.
I like
so,
Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel's good. Yeah, but no, so, yeah,
We got
Friends.
there together. I don't think either one of
I'm
us
still
could have
claiming
done all of
expert. Anyway, so
No,
but yeah.
that's tough.
So Friends had a great run. It started a year after Ninjago, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And
them. 'Cause this year, 2022 was that the 10th?
actually, it
year
was
of that?
2021 was the 10th
okay.
year of
Oh, wow, yeah.
Ninjago
They
since
honored it
2011.
with
No,
The-
he's talking about Friends.
And then
Friends, yes.
2022 was Friends.
Yeah, so
yes.
last year.
Because they were the employee gifts for this.
Exactly. I think it's actually sitting over there waiting to be filmed and opened one day by me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a great line. It's done very well for Lego. It's been in top 5 in sales for multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's great. And one of the most iconic sets from that line has to be the Dolphin Cruiser.
That's fair.
Because
That's fair.
in the 10-year anniversary set, it actually has a little tile referencing that set and a few other newer ones. But that was the one it came in the second wave of Friends.
Yeah.
It was big. It had it was like a giant yacht. You have dolphins. It just showed the excess and the luxury of the Lego Friends characters, and I love it. And it was extremely popular for years. It's not necessarily as recognized now that a lot of the people who are interested in Friends might have grown out of it or are doing other things now, but it was the Friends set to have for at least 5 or 6 years. And for that reason, I think it's one of the most recognizable out of
To be fair,
a ton of regular cafes and houses and malls.
many cafes.
This is different because it's a huge
Hair
yacht,
salons,
so.
vet
The fact that when
places.
you said it, I immediately knew what it was.
Yeah. It's
Unfortunately,
recognizable.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I
I
knew
mean-
exactly which one that was.
Lego has a way of showing us and kind of telling us what they think of as
Yeah.
the best sets because they reference them.
Yep.
They hide them in Easter eggs, in prints or stickers, or build techniques that reference or do callbacks to
Exactly.
older sets, and
Yep.
and that's how you know which ones Lego thinks of as the top of the line.
And we got a ton of them in when they first released
Okay.
years ago, and they actually sold pretty much right away. They didn't hang out too long, and so I just love it. Dolphin Cruiser, most iconic Friends set. Hot take.
I don't
All right.
disagree. Not at all.
Circling back to Joe for the start of the next wave.
All right, now we got a really good theme that is also one of my top 3 themes.
Mhm.
I don't want to put it too high, but it's Marvel superheroes.
Yes.
And
very popular theme.
I picked a really cool set because it's it's super iconic for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure it's super iconic for a lot of other people. It is the Helicarrier, not that new weird one, but
The
seven-
UCS.
the UCS Helicarrier 76042, 2015.
That's a good choice.
I think it's the only choice.
I think it's the right choice.
Yeah, it is such a good.
It ain't the new Hulkbuster.
set. Yeah. Oh.
Zooey mama.
They're about the same price.
Oh no! You can't. You gotta be kidding me.
Sorry, Lego. That's
There's
on
no
you.
choice.
Oh wow.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's a
know-
no-brainer.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
might be
no-brainer.
600 or 700, but that's not that
Wow,
much
it's
more.
not far off.
No.
That's
Yeah,
bad.
you can get.
For
and what year was that?
2015?
2015. A 7, now 8-year-old
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
Wow. Which would you rather have?
Yeah,
I know my choice.
I mean, I already have it. So
Any day of the week.
I would take another one before I got the Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that's a good set. 2,996 pieces, almost 3,000 parts. It's a pretty good set. I mean, you've
It's
seen
also
it on
huge.
a video before we did.
Yeah.
When I brought mine in for the best sets we
Mhm.
did. And that thing was, I mean, it was hard to fit on the table.
It's table sized.
It's
Yeah.
a great set, a great display. Comes with a few exclusive figures. So
You could have given us 4 more of those.
yeah,
4
Yep.
more of those little micro figures.
And then
for
it
some of
would've
the
been
other characters.
3,000.
The other Avengers.
But they were like,
They just wanted the cool adventures. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, what's funny is, Joe, we were comparing our lists earlier, and you said Helicarrier. I'm like,
No brainer.
obviously.
it's like that. Yeah.
At first, I was thinking, what are you going to pick in Marvel? They're all kind of generic battle scenes, and then no, Helicarrier.
No, that was.
obviously.
I knew there was something, and I was like thinking, and then I was like, oh, it came to me. I was like, oh.
Nice.
Good choice.
Well, Daniel, what do you got for your next on the list
I'm going
here?
to follow that up with DC superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
I said I was going to do one on the next round, but I'm going to push that till the end.
Gotcha.
DC superheroes, I'm going to have to go with the Tumbler. I waffled a lot on this one because there were a lot of other good ones.
Mm-hmm.
The 60s Batcave.
I think that's honorable
is
mention.
another good
that's
one.
Close contender.
What were some of the other ones I said? I mean, 1989,
Batwing's pretty nice.
Batwing and
And the
Batmobile,
Mobile, yeah.
both good. Some of the other early... I'm not counting Batman 1 in this because that was not branded under superheroes.
You're right.
Superheroes started with Batman 2. If I
Yes.
can include Batman 1, I might change it.
Change it, yep.
But I'm going with the Tumbler. Pretty much the strongest case for it is that they re-released it. It's come out twice.
Exactly. That's
Yep.
very valid.
In almost the same way. The original one came out in 2014, set 76023, which had 1,860 pieces. The re-release came out in 2021, so 7 years later, set 76240, with 2,040 parts.
That's almost
So
200
they look
more,
almost
yeah.
identical. I don't know where the other 200 parts went. I haven't built
Bolstering,
both.
yeah.
I've only built the new one, and
I've
is
heard
a
the new one is a
fantastic
lot more
set.
robust than the old one.
And
I've
that's
heard the
probably
old one
what it is.
can have some
It's
things
just bolstering things up.
some things break off, and it's a little weak at times. I think you'd have to have built both to know
Yeah,
the difference.
yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the original one of those came out kind of at the peak of the Dark Knight trilogy craze, which is fantastic. And the
I
fact
have
that
it,
it's
so-
still iconic enough to bring back. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't see a lot of things released based on movies that are not like really old, like classics, but old enough that they're not like at the forefront of people's minds anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting sweet spot there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's
Great choice.
That's one you could have gone with.
There's a couple other ones you could have chosen, but I would probably pick that one too when you line them up. So,
What if they made twice?
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
What
Alrighty.
you got?
Well, I'm gonna rotate my list a little too because I want to save my hottest take for last. But
guys.
so
Hottest take.
this is actually a pretty hot take too if you consider the
I
character.
feel like that one's more in line with these ones, though.
Yeah, you should.
Do whatever you want.
Anyway, I'm gonna
What's your
break
last one?
the mold.
Yours isn't. Yours is a licensed one. My last one is unlicensed, and your last
My last
one's
one would be
unlicensed.
this one. But so anyway, I'm gonna break the mold and talk about Bionicle. So Bionicle was a theme. that
Sorry,
came out.
Bonkel? Is that? Did I?
Yes, exactly. Yes,
The Bonkel theme, with those guys who were like, oh,
exactly. Yes, those robot guys
in the factory.
Yep. Anyway, so Lego released this theme in its deepest, darkest hour, and it was one of the saving graces of our favorite Danish plastic toy company because it dragged them literally kicking and screaming from bankruptcy and saved them. So Bionicle had a great first couple waves, and the most iconic set from those waves is Tahu. And that's the set number 8534. It only had a few pieces. It's a simple build, but they had him posed
That's
on
the
a
one with
flaming surfboard going over a lava wave. And it's like the art style for the first Bionicle wave was amazing. And it immediately... I remember seeing these in the magazine, and I had no interest in robots or anything. I was a castle guy, and I'm like, dude, these look sick. So that I gotta say Tahu. What would you say?
That was the one with the mixel joints. For
Yeah,
all the
yeah, exactly.
He
limbs
comes
and
out soon. and-
Yeah.
The face is like a curve slope, right?
Yeah.
So that actually goes into my argument because if you think about it, if they're looking at Bionicle,
Yeah,
which
that's
went on
fair.
for many
That's
years.
fair.
I don't think it was quite 10 years, but
No.
I have to. Somebody Morgan check me on that. But they.
It's always Morgan.
Yeah.
If anybody else wants to check us on it, they
Yeah,
can.
exactly. The Bionicle fans were so adamant that please bring Bionicle back, and then they're like, fine, we'll do one tiny gift with purchase, a little excuse in system parts, not Bionicle parts, and guess what they picked? Tahu.
Okay,
That's
but this
fair.
was after they rebooted the theme once. To,
Again, with Tahu,
to
so, yeah.
mid to poor reception.
Yep.
And then they had the ones with the little minifigures, and that was also poorly received. and
Exactly.
So it's
It
It's-
petered out eventually,
They
but
did try to bring it back.
yeah.
To be fair.
yeah, in 2015 or 16.
Yeah, I think it was 15.
which, and they all say that doesn't count because they didn't do it the way that they wanted and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
so.
don't complain.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I won't start beef with Bionicle fans.
Bionicle
I'll let you
has-
handle that,
Nah,
Joe.
I'm all
Bionicle
good.
used to be very affordable, but now it's actually grown up in value
Yeah.
a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Tahu's probably in the 30 or 40 range if you want a nice one. So
Yeah, probably.
it's more collectible now, and it probably will continue to be so as long as Lego doesn't make those big joint pieces in those big robot-y sizes anymore. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Tahu, gotta say that as most iconic Bionicle set.
Fair enough.
I actually follow a guy on Instagram who I think originally worked on a lot of the artwork that went into the
Wow.
Bionicle sets, and he does some really nice artwork. And he
They're cool.
did art for other themes and things in Lego, which is mostly why I follow them. But even when I see the Bionicle stuff, it's like that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, my final theme is one that I don't know too much about. Minecraft. I mean, it's a fun game, and I used to play it all the time. These guys still play sometimes, but I didn't think it was too hard. The mountain cave had an argument for the most. I mean, it's the biggest,
and
most
most
iconic,
valuable.
in my opinion. I think it was the same wave as the mountain cave. I might be wrong, but it's the village.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the village. When you're going around in Minecraft, you're always like, oh, look, a village.
And that's the first place you go.
You go and loot the village. It's just that's just very iconic for Minecraft as a game. And then it was one of the first sets in 2016. It's 1,600 parts. So I mean they rounded it out, unlike the Helicopter.
Yeah.
1,600 parts. So it's a great set. It's super expensive. I think it's in the $800 range. We might have one.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So new seal, that thing is expensive.
Oh yeah.
So that proves it.
It's very desirable for Minecraft fans if it's grown in that much
Yeah.
value in this. What was it? 2016 it came out.
2016.
So yeah, not too long
7
ago.
years ago.
7 years. Oh yeah, well no, that's longer now that you say it that way. But
Oh, just wait.
are you
done?
wait, there's more.
I'm done. Yeah.
done?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm done.
So I'm doing two together for my last. I'm doing Ultra Agents and Agents
As one theme, sort of.
as one thing. Now, there are 2 dates associated with these. The 2 years that these themes came out.
Oof.
One was 2014, and that's the newer one. That's Ultra Agents. That was
painful.
9 years ago now.
Jeez.
9 years ago was Ultra Agents. Agents came out in 2008.
15 years.
15 years ago was when Agents came
That's
out.
insane.
And I'm going to go with a set that I had. I'm going to go with the Mission 6 Mobile Command Center from Agents. Is the big truck, and the side of it lifts off.
It's cool, man.
It's got all this cool like science lab in it. There was a projector in it. You could like project
I think we actually have this
stuff
right
on the
now.
wall. It's a really great set.
Yeah.
And the reason some people might say, I forget what the one is with the car where he drives through the gate. That one's also very iconic.
It's neat.
But the thing that really speaks to me about why I picked this was when Ultra Agents came out in 2014, 6 years later. The flagship set from that line was almost identical.
Another big
the
truck.
Ultra Agents Mission HQ, also a truck, hinged open in the exact same way, on the same side even. It wasn't even mirror image.
Yeah.
They didn't even hinge it open. It completely.
They weren't even trying to change
Almost
it.
literally the exact
Yeah.
same set in terms of the structure of it. A big honking truck cab.
I think they figured out
and
that
all
people
sorts of
like
vehicles
that.
that could come out of it. And
The
the
Agent
mobile
Semi,
lab.
yeah.
Funny
Yeah.
enough, there's also a few city sets that are
Yeah,
police
police.
trucks. They're
Yeah.
the exact same
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
they figured
But
out.
they're usually smaller.
Well,
they're
yeah,
they're
but
kind of
they
more in
figured
line.
out
They're
with
humbler.
They
what
figured
would
out
actually
people
fit in a
like that
city.
kinda
This
thing.
this size
They're
truck wouldn't
huge.
fit in any city.
No,
It would
no.
take up 2 lanes on any road.
It's just driving down the whole road.
yeah, it's like it's like the Mammoth car from Speed Racer.
Yeah, it's just
enormous.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd have to look at one to remember, but it's at least like 12 or 14 studs wide.
It's
They're
getting
big.
towards a 16 by 16. And
Yeah,
They're
so
huge.
it's enormous.
It's in that
but
ballpark.
they're so cool.
They are
All
cool.
the amount of features that they packed into it is
Yeah,
cool,
I agree.
for sure.
Yeah, excellent choice. I think
It
that,
makes me feel very old though, because I distinctly remember getting that one for a birthday present, probably in 2008.
that was a good birthday though. That's
That
good.
was a great birthday.
That's awesome. Alrighty, well, I will finish this up. You're done with your list there, Daniel, too. Oh, we're gonna smack it off. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that.
Sorry, ABC prop collectors. 30 years from now.
Exactly.
Yeah, 30 or 3.
Alrighty, so my final
Never.
theme is Star Wars, which guess what? Came out in 1999,
That
which is
is-
before
yeah.
Joe came
Yeah,
out.
That is true. That's true.
that's almost before I came out.
It's getting close to Daniel's age. I came out a few years before then. But, so, Star Wars, an iconic piece of Lego history ever since its inception.
Absolutely.
And this was, I am not the biggest Star Wars fan. I am a Star Wars fan, especially having worked here for many years.
Yeah.
You have to know it just to be able to sell it and show people where it is and
Yep.
describe the figures. So I know enough about it now, but I'm not an expert. And so I was hesitant. This is the only, everything else I was like, within a few seconds, I'm like, yeah, that's good. But this one, are you okay, Joe? You tired?
I was yawning.
Okay. This one I actually hesitated on because it's a really important theme. I know a lot of fans could be upset if I say the wrong set.
That's
So
fair.
I did a little bit of research. I looked up the most valuable sets. I asked the other crew members what they thought, and they all put their opinions in. I was really close to picking
I know it's about to blow big.
the UCS Millennium Falcon, either version. I was
Yeah.
gonna pick that because it is extremely iconic.
Super iconic.
It's one of the coolest Lego sets. Period. I mean, it's just awesome.
Hard
You
to be
have
more
it.
iconic. I do.
Do you have it too, Dan? You don't have it. That's huge. The big Millennium.
No.
Yeah, I have the second.
I don't have it either. It's cool, but yeah. What I ended up picking was the original minifigure scale playset Death Star.
It is not minifigure scale. Oh, hang on.
Minifigure
versus the UCS
Playset,
one. Yeah.
playset style.
Playset
yes.
style.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
careful,
rooms-
careful now.
The rooms
I
are
think somebody
minifigure
actually.
scale.
I think somebody actually calculated one time that a minifigure scale Death Star would actually
Be the size
be
of the
like
moon.
like a mile across. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
enormous or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
No. This is the rooms are minifigure scale.
Yeah.
It's designed for minifigures, and so it is a really cool set. It's very iconic.
10188.
That's the set. No, you actually got this as a kid.
I
didn't you? Right?
did.
That's
I
right.
did. That was also 2008, which also
Yeah.
makes me feel very old.
Yeah, that's definitely.
So a good year for Lego. Had multiple cool sets, but yeah. So. And I know that some people are going to say, "Oh, Cloud City, the original one, is really iconic and
is.
really expensive."
It's like,
But it's not as iconic.
okay, here comes another hot take.
More people got
Cloud
this.
City is iconic for how bad it looks.
Yes.
The original Cloud City,
It's not a good set.
I love it. I own it. I paid a lot of money for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad set.
Yeah, that's
Well,
very
here's
true.
the thing. It was a weird looking set. It did not sell well, and that's why it's expensive
Yes.
now.
Exactly, because you
Had
didn't.
exclusive minifigures
And it
that
didn't
are
blow up,
fantastic,
yeah.
even by today's standards.
Yep.
Purely the build, the construction,
Is awful.
bar a few rare pieces that came in it. Is
Exactly.
pretty-
It's really not a
It's
good set.
not good.
There's some
It's
cool
really
play
not.
features that work most of the time.
The Millennium Falcon also, I think, is a little bit invalidated because it's still very fresh in our memory. And it's like, oh, obviously it's the latest one on the shelf. We
Because
usually
they
have it in the
released it
store.
twice, though.
Yeah.
But they also,
They also
did with
released
the
the Death Star
So
twice.
that's also a good point.
Here's the difference. Somebody comes into the store. They ask for a Star Wars set. They say, "Do you have the Death Star?" And they're talking about this Death Star,
Yeah.
or the newer version with the newer figures, but the same, the play
Yeah.
set Death Star.
Kids don't ask for the UCS.
Spider-Man, No Way Home, wanted to have a Lego set to drop, or actually both Spider-Man movies.
Far From Home and No Way
Yeah,
Home.
true.
and so guess which one they picked? The Lego Death Star. It's
I
Ned's
am
favorite
surprised
set.
they picked that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't the Millennium Falcon. It
Because
was
the whole
Death
point
Star.
of the bit was that they drop and break it. I would have thought they would have picked
Yeah,
the
Falcon.
Star Destroyer
Or
or
Star
the
Destroyer.
Falcon
Yeah.
to drop.
but no.
But guess
Because
what?
those are pretty hollow and fragile.
So, I mean, if that speaks for anything, obviously that's
It's
the most iconic.
Probably
Yeah.
the most famous Lego set ever because it got dropped by Spider-Man's best friend in his room. I mean, it's like it's pretty iconic.
And I mean,
That's-
we
that's a fair
might
point.
have possibly put those together for
yeah, we
No Way
we
Home.
might have been involved in the process for
Oh,
that. Anyway,
I thought
yeah.
you were getting ready to say we might have possibly rolled one down the ramp.
That
and
too.
Smashed it into
Yeah.
a million pieces.
Anyway, lots
That
of
still hurts.
Those are lots of controversial things we could talk about, but we're gonna get back onto the other controversial thing. But yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, this is a hot take, and I'm not an expert. This is the one that I think is the most iconic for a multitude of reasons. But obviously, there's probably a dozen Star Wars
There's a
sets
lot
that
of
could
good ones.
make this argument
Yeah,
for sure. So.
sure.
Yeah.
And I'm actually very curious to hear what our friends and fans
yeah.
think because a lot of these are hot takes. Some of these are obvious, like Classic Castle, Classic Space, but
Yes.
some of these are a little bit more controversial. I'd love to hear what they think,
Yeah.
if they have any disagreements, if they agree.
Please let us know if you disagree. We
Yeah.
would love
if
to
there's
know
any
what you
other
think.
themes you
Yeah.
want to do.
Because you could say something and we're like, oh, duh. And
Exactly.
we just missed it.
Yeah. We could have missed something. We were just scrolling through Bricklink
Yeah.
doing some light research, but
Yeah.
yeah, let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We sure appreciate it, and we'll be back with more content very soon. Thanks, guys.